Hi, Willie, you all right?
What, mate, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Good to see you again.
You too, mate.
Right, well, we'll get cracking and start as we always do with the team news then. What's the latest with Matt Parcell after his HIA?
Yeah, so he obviously won't play this week. So he'll have the week off this week, unfortunately. And then who else is there? Pretty much everyone else is okay. George King's got a tight calf, so we're going to rest George this week. At this stage we'll rest George. We're still going to name him. There's a possibility he still might play, but at this stage, we'd rather rest that calf than do any further damage to it.
Just on Matt, have you had a chance to watch back what happened to him?
To Matt? Yes,
Yeah.
mate. Yes, I have. Yes. So obviously, so firstly, I spoke to the referees just to get clarity around the decision that was made, and we all make wrong decisions at times. Referees are human. They admitted that it was the wrong decision in terms of it should have been a penalty. So it was good just to get some clarification around that. In terms of the actual incident, I mean, obviously there was no intent, but the angles you can't see on the angles where it's actually contact or how it's contacted Matt, but there's no doubt he's been contacted in the head in some way, whether that's from a shoulder, whether that's from a chest, whether that's from a head, whether that's from his arm, the player's arm. But it was never so much about that. It was around that he did get contacted towards the head, but he should have been a penalty because the line that the player ran was straight towards Matt. Therefore, he should have been tracking back towards the ball. And contact was made. So, the unfortunate part for us is that we missed Matt in a major turning point in that game. And then we missed Matt this week and we didn't get a penalty for it. So, it happens and fully respect that the referees have got to make a decision quickly. And, I suppose, for us, we got clarity around that it was the wrong decision and we accept that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he's not going to be available this week, but as far as going forward, you envision him being okay after this one?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He go through all the protocols, and he's been naturally after the game. He wasn't great, and then next day, and then the following day, once you start doing the testing and going through the protocols, he's on track.
Okay, moving on for Jesse Sue. Obviously, he's copped a one-game ban. What's your take on that decision?
Yeah, so that's one we could have easily challenged. The tricky part is if you challenge it, then potentially you can have 2 games. So we had to make a decision. That for me, there's no doubt. This is my opinion that it was careless, but I don't think it was reckless. I think once these are the ones we're trying to get out of our game, but we also need to understand that once players go, a certain distance into the line at pace, you're committed as a defender. So naturally, we talk about as coaches that you want to put your body in front to make a tackle, because if you don't put your body in front, they poke their nose through, quick play the ball. So the best way to tackle is by stepping in and putting your body in front. So, Jesse went out the Warrington player, and then there's obviously a point there where once that ball goes, then he needs to try and pull out as much as he can, which he did. And so it wasn't, as I say, it wasn't reckless. He didn't go in because he did pull out as much as he could. And then he went on to try and make the next tackle off the back of that. What happens is, if he did take himself out and it was reckless, then he wouldn't have been able to do that. So we've accepted it. That's just my thoughts on it. As I say, it's a tricky one because we don't want to lose Jess for 2 games. But certainly, Jess didn't do, I don't believe, anything intentional to hurt the Warrington player or reckless.
Well, thanks for your thoughts on that one. You always mentioned with George King likely to miss out on this one. So how big a chance could this be for the likes of Reece Kennedy and Frankie Halton maybe to get some game time?
Yeah, so Reece will definitely get some more game time. So he started, has started majority of the year, and then he's only had limited game time the last couple of weeks. But with George out, certainly guys like Matty Staunton and then Yusuf, will come into consideration as well. So there's some players there in the mix.
And with the injuries in the spine at the minute, obviously with Matt being added to that now, does Phoenix come into the reckoning for this?
Yeah, certainly he does. He played last week for Keithley, played in the halves last week. So, from what I've seen and speaking to the coaches and stuff like that, I think he's definitely at the right to be called, considered in selection this week. So we've got high hopes for Fien. He's only at the start of his journey, so I'm really big on developing a player and managing them properly to put them in when they are ready. There's no doubt Fien will get an opportunity this year, and certainly could be this week.
Yeah, you mentioned he played for Keithley last week. He played against his dad, of course. So did he mention how that went?
Yeah, he did. It was a pretty cool experience, like bizarre, isn't it, to be able to play against your dad. Like, obviously, Phoenix's dad's very well known in the championship comp and obviously in Super League as well. Talented player in his own right. It would have been a bizarre experience tackling your son and vice versa, going after your dad. But mate, it's one. Yeah, it obviously prefer playing with him, but it was an experience that he'll never forget. And his dad's 1-0 up. They got the victory.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I imagine Phoenix probably went for his dad more than his dad went for Phoenix.
Yeah, I'd say so, mate. I'd say so. I think his dad would have gone in and go, I'm going to get this bloke, and then, maybe I'll let someone else get him, but don't go too hard. No, they got a great relationship, very close family. So, it would have been a special time, especially after the game when they could enjoy it, obviously getting through the game and getting photos, and they'll cherish that forever.
Yeah, absolutely. With that spine, though, that you've got at the moment, it's tricky, I suppose. What options do you feel that you do have for this one?
Yeah, no, we've still got options. There's no doubt. As I said, Phoenix is certainly comes in the picture. That obviously Jez Litton played there last week as well. So Jez has been ill at the start of the week, so we've just got to get him through the back end of the week. But he'll obviously be in consideration too for in the halves. So we do have options there. There's no doubt at the moment we've got some key personnel out in the spine at the moment, but what it does, again, it brings or gives opportunity to other people. And we showed last week, we've said it all year, it doesn't matter who wears that jersey. There's a responsibility and expectation to wear it the right way. And they certainly did that last week. We just fell short against a very good Warrington team. We're there to, fighting towards the end. And if you look at it closely, there was some, obviously, pinpointed Matt Parcells as a key moment, but there were certainly some moments that we heard ourselves, and we'd like to take back and learn from it, which we did. Had a look at it during the week, and we'll learn from those moments.
Just to check in as well, is there any more news on the contract front? We know obviously Lachlan Coote's retiring, but the likes of Kane Lynette and Sean Kenny-Dowell, is there anything to update on that?
Yeah, so we should have a little bit more. I can't give anything today. Nothing's finalised as such today, but we are getting closer on both of those. So, there's ongoing discussions with both of those players. So I'd say within the next sort of week or two, we can give some more information out to the fans and to you guys.
Have they been positive discussions though?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, really positive. It's the stage that they're at in their career. They need to work out whether they do want to go another year. Obviously, pre-season, there's a lot of factors that come into. It's not just turning up to play. Enjoyment, the way that they've played is at a high level. So, play they've got to look at that. But then also they've got to go, you're a long time retired as well. So, it's a decision that needs to be made slowly, and need to make sure it's the right decision, because, as I said, you're retired. Once you finish, you're done. But also on the flip side, there's, if you think you've got nothing more to prove and you've done and you're happy with what you've done, then that's another option that they need to look at as well.
Well, we know that Lachlan's made that call now. Obviously, he's retiring at the end of the season. What's your reaction to that news when you heard it?
Yeah, look, he's an exceptional leader. Lachlan, he's one of the most professional players I've been involved with. The way he approaches his game, he's got a really, really good understanding of the game. And as a first-year coach, he's been exceptional for me, as has all the senior players. But Lachlan. So when he told me about his decision, I wasn't overly surprised, but naturally, it's for anyone who's had the career that he's had. It's definitely It's definitely it's an emotional sort of time for everyone. Mostly for Lachlan and his family, Laura and the family. So they've made that decision now. They'll go back to Australia at the end of the year. But what I do know with Cootie is he'll be all in up until then and giving everything. He's injured at the moment, but mate, he's helping out at the moment with players and acting as a coach as such, and it's great. I'm a big fan of player-to-player teaching. It shouldn't always be dictated by coaches. I think it's a powerful way of getting your message across. So he's doing that as we speak, which is pleasing because it helps the player, but it also helps Lachlan, and I know he's fully invested.
In such a short space of time that he's been playing in the Super League, he's had such an incredible impact. Look what he did with St Helens, of course. How good has he been, do you think, in the English game? Yeah,
he's been exceptional. Obviously he's come over here and won competitions in the NRL's come over here and won competitions. So he wants to keep going. Obviously there's 2 trophies still to be to go after, which obviously every club's going after. We're going after those as well, and he leads the way in that. He's a winner. There's no doubt about that. Lachlan's a winner. And hopefully we can send him out in the best way possible. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, but obviously you aspire to chase trophies, and he will lead that.
Also, you signed AJ Wallace from Bradford for 2024 onwards on a 2-year deal. How pleased are you to get that done? Yeah,
really pleased. I think a player like AJ, there's obviously a couple of clubs that were looking at him as well. He's a player that's proven himself now in the championship. I've said it before. It's a tough comp. It's a highly competitive comp, the championship. So to go there at a young age, playing against grown men and prove yourself. The pleasing part or the exciting part is he hasn't been in a full-time environment. So, you look at his body shape and you look at, what he can do, his athletic movements, and then you put that into a full-time environment. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a spike pretty quick in terms of his development. Again, he's similar to Phoenix. There's no rush for guys like that. You need to develop them properly, because if you don't, you put them in too early, they can end up spat out just as quick, and then they don't. You lose their confidence, they lose their belief, and they don't become Super League players. So the plan is for guys like AJ and Phoenix is to develop them the best way possible, slowly. Drip feed him into the first team. Obviously, some championship game which Phoenix had last week, and that's the best way to develop them. And but I'm excited for AJ because having a strong preseason will set him up then to see what he can do next year.
How big is it for you as a coach to see somebody with that raw talent and that makes you go, just a little bit of time with us and he could be something special?
Yeah, no, you can't teach talent. Like that's you've either got certain elements of talent about you or you don't. Some players have to work extremely harder than others. So when you have talent, you need to fall in love with the other side, which is the effort, sacrifices, the way you prepare. Because if you do that, then you combine both, then you've got a player. But if you've got a talent and that talent of play doesn't work hard, the other guy's always going to make it. So, for us, the way we want to play and who we are as a club, that other side comes first. And then, Corey Hall, for example, he's sort of first 3 or 4 games has just been about, playing with, competing hard, playing with, high-end effort and, having intent to what he does. Because with a player like that, again, he's a talented kid. So once he does that, then his talent will shine through off the back of that. So, your AJ Wallace's and Phoenix's, players like that, if they look after the first part first, the areas that we value, then they'll be 10 to 12-year Super League players. If they don't, and they don't want to make sacrifices and work hard, then that's when your player that's going to come through, not as talented, but works hard, they'll go ahead of them.
Where do you see AJ being in the team in terms of complementing what you do?
Yeah, so he's got a point of difference to what we have. So at the moment, back rowers work hard, they run really strong lines, and they are effort-based players and do the things that go unnoticed. Obviously, Kane's a little bit older now. Batch, who I rate extremely highly, that type of player. Then obviously you got, we've got players like Frankie and who's got that point of difference as well. But AJ's got really good footwork. He's not, not tall, but he's got a really good build for a back rower in terms of that. They are hard to handle because, with the ball when they've got feet, they're not that straight up and down sort of back rower. So that he will provide us with that. He's got really good movements in his defence. And from what I'm seeing, he does work hard. So now it's about doing a full preseason and then playing against, the game in the Super League's faster. So we've got to train that way. He needs to learn how to train fast to then play fast. So that's an area that we need to work with him on. But there's no doubt, his point of difference, is with his footwork and his ability to beat some players with, as I say, with his strength and footwork.
Well, looking at this game, then it's the first time in a while that you go into the game off the back of a defeat. It's quite a rarity this season. So, have you seen what you'd want to see from the group after a loss this week?
Yeah, certainly. We've approached this week like we approach any other week. So we've reviewed it thoroughly, like we do every week. And now it's about, we had a session today on the field. I didn't see any signs there that of complacency or anything in terms of our standards haven't dropped. So we like to build as the week goes. We don't want to play a game too early. So, we'll step it up again on captain's run and then building into the game. So, it was a narrow defeat. You never want to lose, but you can accept at times, when you perform like that. There was two good teams going at it. And as I said, when we reviewed the game, we had to look at areas we need to be better. If we fix those areas up this week, and then we'll be in a good place. But we need to maintain a lot of the things that we did for the majority of the game against Batley.
Yeah, it was a loss, but it was a competitive loss, wasn't it? There wasn't any sort of capitulation at all, as has been the case throughout the season, really. Yeah,
and that's what we pride ourselves on. We need to be consistent with our performances. It is cliche, but if you are, you worry about the process, then the wins come along. But that's no different to us. Our level from being good and bad, we can't have that too big a gap. We always want to be consistent with our performances. So far, over all the courses of the game, we have done that. We've worked hard for each other every week. So now there's an expectation inside the group that you need to work hard for your teammate, because that's who we are. And there's always someone waiting to take your spot if you're not willing to do that.
So Challenge Cup, how does it feel coaching a side in a prestigious competition like this?
Yeah, very, very cool, to be honest. I'm excited. It's obviously, it's like you say, it is a prestigious competition. It's a competition that I've followed ever since I was a kid. Obviously the Super League came in and, at one stage the Challenge Cup was, the main competition over here. So I still look at the Challenge Cup. There's two massive trophies to win. So for us, it's we want to go after this competition and suit up at Wembley and be there, when the time comes around. But there's a lot of work to do before then. There's a lot of hard work to do before then. So it starts this week against Batley. We are certainly not taking Batley lightly at all. As I said, our preparation has been exactly the same. We've had the same amount of days off. We've spent the same amount on video, same amount as we did at training, because we fully respect Batley as a team, what they've done last year, what they've done this year, what they've done the past 4 weeks, what they did last week against Toulouse. So we know we're going to be playing against a team with high energy, nothing to lose. It'll come out here and throw everything at us. But again, we will just worry about what we can control. And like you say, we've had consistent performances this year, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Lovely stuff, Willie. Thank you for that, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.
Hi, Willie.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate.
Good. Yeah, Tim covered most of it as always. I just wanted to ask you about Connor Barley. Obviously, he's been recalled. Was there any specific reason behind that?
Yeah, look, Connor wanted to come back. That was,
right.
And for me, again, we talk about developing players, not saying that York, they got a very good coach there and set up. But for us, because Connor's on a 2-year contract, I was happy for Connor to come back and develop within our system. He definitely would have got some great learnings going away playing against men. So the key is, and it's not for Connor, but it's for all young guys, no decision has to be made on players that are 19, 20, 21. I think that's where we need to improve, is too many decisions are made around younger players. And I think too many players get hyped up at a young age, or they're thought of as, commented on that they're first team players. They're in first team systems, and they sign contracts, 2 or 3 year contracts, so they can develop within that system. So Connor, for me, Connor can still play academy. So where Connor needs to come back now and is play academy and then play reserves, and then work hard to try and become a first team player. He's part of our first team squad. But the key for him now, and key for a lot of young guys, is to play rugby, and to play rugby every week. And that hasn't happened. So he, I've got some really good feedback from Ian, over at Hendo over at York. And so, we know where Connor's at the moment, but that's something, mate, that we need to improve. Overall, we can't make too many judgments on players that are so young, and they need to work towards being first team players. And because you play 1 or 2 games, it doesn't mean you're a first team player.
Yeah, and I know obviously outside noise doesn't mean much, but I caught up with Craig Lingard, Batley coach, yesterday, and he was a big fan of what you guys are doing on and off the field. So that must be nice to get the respect from obviously a coach in the lower leagues. He said you're the blueprint of Super League. So that must be nice to get some accolades from opposition coaches as well. Yeah,
it's a really nice comment. Craig's obviously a very capable coach, and he's a very smart coach from what I can see. He's obviously got the CAS job as well. So no doubt from what I've seen and what I hear, he's going to be a Super League coach down the track. So he's doing a great job himself. And we admire what he's doing as well. So it's nice to hear that, but we've certainly got respect the other side as well.
Perfect. Best of luck Friday, mate. See you then.
Cheers, Joe.